Hello and welcome to the Blaggin podcast. Chris, please speak for me.
Yo, what's up? Yes and yes, sir.
If you can lean forward a bit, that would be helpful.
Well, you know. All right. Mic check. 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Where's the gain?
You just turn it down, mate.
What does gain mean?
I think it essentially increases volume and sensitivity of the mic.
Okay, so should I have it low or high?
Well, let's bring it up a little bit.
Okay.
How does that work? Is that better?
Is
that too loud? Too loud? Yeah. What about this?
You'd think I would have researched something like this before beginning a podcast.
Is that all right? Is that better?
Where is it?
It's
Cerys talk.
About a third.
Hello?
Talk.
Hello?
Yeah, talk. Don't just say
I
hello.
am talking. Okay, cool. I hate you, Tom.
We interrupt your usual programming for a podcast in the art of bullshittery.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time it is with you. Welcome to the Blaggin podcast, a lifestyle podcast. Where other shows would tell you how to get ahead in life, we're just trying to help you survive it. My name is Tom Baker. I'm an actor, author, and part-time unicycle enthusiast. I'm here with my Libra lovely Chains. Hello,
Yes,
Chains.
sir. What's going on, man? How we doing?
How's it going?
Yeah, I'm cool, man. You know,
Chris, there's something very peculiar here today. We've got a guest on the podcast.
3 episodes in.
Someone's infiltrated the Blaggin studio. It's my Scorpio soulmate, Cerys Prosser.
Yeah, it's Prosser.
Prosser, great. Literally, when Cerys arrived, I was like, so how do I pronounce this? I like 3 times asked because you can mispronounce it as Prosy.
the disrespect, man.
No, because I got it right, so it's all fine. So Cerys is here with us today.
Mm-hmm.
Cerys, how are you enjoying the show so far? You've been listening to Blaggin episodes 1 and 2, I hope.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. It was quite interesting to listen to different viewpoints. I thought with the first episode, it was quite interesting because I'm not actually from an artsy background. And I just found it interesting getting the viewpoints of other people who use it vocationally as for art.
Yes, but then that creation lens, but also talking about topical issues like, anxiety, mental health, relationship, etc.
Yeah.
Because I do think that the arts are important in terms of telling that story. Guys, there was a survey in the newspapers recently which was listing the most important jobs in the country. And on the bottom of that list was artists.
Yeah.
At the bottom?
At the bottom of the list, Chris, I kid you not. So let me tell you...
So across the board, so painters, musicians,
artists,
just
all comes under art. I didn't know that you'd be so shocked by this fact I was dropping. But literally, you wouldn't have your Netflix, you wouldn't have your cars, because they're designed by artists, like concept artists, etc.
Video games,
like music, you wouldn't have Spotify, etc. without artists. So I do think that addressing things like the mental health issues, etc. that we've been saying with that artistic, creative viewpoint is one of the reasons why art is so important. That was a weird segue into a semi-deep conversation, but I just wanted to put that out there. Did you listen to the meditation segment from last episode?
Yes, I found that quite interesting.
What's your viewpoint? Do you meditate? Do you take part in spirituality or anything like that?
No, I think I was quite similar to Chris in that way though. I have been thinking about it recently. I'm not sure whether it's just because of being in lockdown.
Yeah.
And just the fact that I haven't been able to see my friends, which I find is a good outlet. So then I just felt that could be a good way because social media I feel is quite toxic.
Yeah, and that's something we're going to get on as well.
Yeah, I have considered it.
Just haven't taken the deep
I
dive.
haven't, yeah, but it's been something on my mind for the last couple of weeks.
I think that's interesting. Lockdown really has, and this is obviously to both. This is so interesting as a host because I feel like I need to direct it to both of you, but. And I didn't want to talk about lockdown too much because I feel like enough people are talking about coronavirus. Yeah. But in terms of mental health and mindfulness, I will start with you, Chris.
Yes.
How has it affected you and how, because a lot of people have been it's kind of been this light bulb moment where suddenly gratitude has suddenly become a big thing. People have been going out of their way to be very active about their mindfulness and mental health. What steps did you take to making sure that you were taking care of the noggin during lockdown?
Okay. So at first, I'm not going to lie, it's been very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the beginning of it, I had the joys of having to self-isolate inside for 2 weeks.
I remember you were like one of my first friends to be like, guys, symptoms, I'm self-isolating. And I haven't experienced that, so can you just shed the light on what that was like?
I went insane.
Okay.
That's well, at least, I don't want to say insane, but it certainly felt like it was going there.
Yeah.
The same 4 walls, 14 days. It sounds so easy on paper.
And so did you not leave the house at all? Did you get like shopping like delivered to you, like online shopping and stuff?
Yeah. We had like family friends go and do it for us, bring it, leave it at the door. Like, yeah. By about day 9, 10, I was like really just like, yeah, this is ridiculous.
That must be so difficult.
Yeah,
I can't
just
imagine.
aimlessly walking around just because it was something to do.
Yeah.
Like you'd sort of just circle the place.
And
just
it makes
over.
It makes you realise how much you take for granted being able to just walk out your front door and go do whatever you want to do or stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
that's
definitely.
what it was like in the beginning. It was so like, oh my god, going to the park.
Yeah.
Taking your dog for a walk. Oh, now I've got to consider, because you've got to consider every single person that you walk past. Cerys, obviously, you and I were, and this comes on to how we know each other, we were work buddies, weren't we?
Yeah, so I had my uni exams cancelled pretty much on the Monday before we went into lockdown, and then got that job. So I haven't mentally felt trapped in any way.
We haven't had the chance to check out, really, have we?
Yeah, so because we were working pretty much, how many hours a week were we working?
Yeah, it was over 30. We were in there every day, like the 9 to 5. And so it was almost hard for us to appreciate these people who were isolating, because we were like, well, it's just like the daily grind for us.
Yeah, so I never experienced symptoms myself. Like,
no, me
I'm not
neither,
sure if I was asymptomatic carrier, but for me, the most downtime I had was after working at Tesco's. But
Same.
For me, it's been more of a summer holiday now because it's been...
you mentioned Tesco's. We're not supposed to mention brand names or it affects the sponsor. I'm joking. Asda and Sainsbury's are now not going to sponsor us. Because I was really hoping Morrison's would get in contact.
Give us some vouchers.
Yes, no, I completely agree, because as someone who is an artist and who is a creative, going back to the kind of customer service environment and having to do that kind of very plastered smile, very fake kind of thing. Spoilers, customer service is all fake, and that's something we're going to get onto in this episode, but to kind of have that downtime and reflect and sort of have that opportunity to catch up in terms of mindfulness and mental health has been quite refreshing for me. I don't know what it's been like for you.
Yeah, for me, nothing's really stopped because I was working and I'm going back to uni because I start in the hospital.
Just for the listeners, what do you study at university?
I study medicine.
Okay, so just, very seasonal. Here for a coronavirus season.
So yeah, I'm going to work in the hospitals from this week. So I'm trying to help a bit.
Uni is
respect.
Respect for a start. But uni's talk to me about your uni experience. Like, it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm having the best time at uni. I think my year in general has just made such a good community.
Community is so important because you're all far away from home.
Yeah.
And the reason why I want to bring this up is because I know people who went to uni and within a week they decided it wasn't for them. They didn't like being away from home. They felt confined in halls, etc. It really is about the community that you land with, and
definitely,
and feeling connected and supported and things like that. I feel like uni really does help you grow as a person. It's something that all people should at least try and experience, even if it isn't for them. At least try and experience it.
Yeah, definitely. I found also my friends and I were all quite similar. We're all doing the same thing. We've all had to do the same amount of work to get there. So we're very much work hard, play hard. I think that's what
it's so essential, isn't it? You've got to you've all got to have the vision, and because obviously I trained in acting, so within the first 2 weeks, about half the people on the course quit because they saw how difficult about half. Yeah, they took on about 40 people, and
that's
about
crazy.
20 kicked the bucket, not in that way. They left the course within about 2 weeks because they were like, this is too difficult. I can't do the 8 a.m. starts. I can't do the 8 p.m. finishes. I can't do every morning we'd start with a physical warm up, vocal warm up. You'd be doing 60 press ups, etc. 8, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
To get started for the day, because being an actor is about having that kind of toll on the body and mind, etc. And people just drop out like flies because they didn't have the same tenacity and the same drive. So I feel like that is important to find your tribe, those people who are as hardworking as you. Reeling it back to the meditation challenge, Chris, I want to check in with you. Last week we challenged listeners to do 30 days of meditation, and they're doing it along with you.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us. I want you to take the reins because I'm talking far too much. I can already feel my throat is so dry.
Take it easy, bro.
take the reins while I wet my throat with some wine. Too graphic. What's going on?
First week has been interesting. I understand completely what I was saying about last episode when they compared it to an old email inbox, about how
I loved that analogy, and I loved the analogy about the dentist. Even re-listening to it,
the dentist one,
isn't it good? Because you instantly connect with it. Even if meditation isn't something that you're familiar with or you think it's a bit intimidating, the minute, Chris, you really put that into great terms, and so
can just apply to everyone as well. Everyone
exactly,
goes to the dentist,
which I think it's important. Yeah, well,
so,
don't go on a date with those people that aren't. But yes, carry on.
This is doing wonders for my ego, guys.
You need it, because I'm always sat here blowing my own trumpet. This time your horn had a singing to.
That's a crazy sentence, bro.
Go.
Yeah.
Yes. So, okay, carry on.
Yeah. So first week's been it's been interesting. Yes. There's been a couple of things where it's been like something just comes out of nowhere. Like up here, I'll sit there for a moment. It's like, okay, cool. Because admittedly, most of mine has been done during the early hours of the morning, about 5, 6 a.m. ish.
A lot of the videos I watch do say that kind of the Buddhist monks, like we were talking about the Tibetan mountains, etc., they wake up like 4:45 a.m. and they go out and they sit on the mountains at 5 a.m. because your body is in prime connection with itself around the hours of 5 a.m. So I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah. And yeah, so I had this one occasion where just something that I hadn't even considered about for months and months, it was like nothing. Oh my God, there's this.
A bit like, not everyone will relate to this, you're driving and you kind of switch off and suddenly, oh, there's a car there. That gives you an indication on my skill as a driver. But I completely agree with you that something that will completely come out of the left field and you'll go, oh my God, there's this suppressed thing here that I've buried so much, even my own subconscious was hiding it from me.
Yes.
And yes, okay, that's good. So what else? So these things that came out the left field, what else? So how long did you meditate for?
At the moment, it's about 10 minutes, 10,
that's
15.
That's good. That's commendable.
Just at least it feels like 5-10 minutes,
Doesn't it feel so long? Doesn't it feel like eternity's passed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
I might give that a go.
I'm almost
Cerys, I would. It's transformative.
With all of the things sort of just coming out of nowhere, and it's like I haven't thought about this in months, if not years.
Yeah.
And it does affect your mood completely, and sometimes sometimes it helps because it gives you a different perspective on it now, and then other times it does like sort of bring you down.
Yeah.
And I've had a few days where I've almost been intimidated by the idea, because it's like well I'm already still now pondering on this stuff that I hadn't thought of in months. If I get now something else, that's two things I've got to think about.
And are you listening to guided meditations, or are you just sat there like trying to think of? Because what I would recommend, and if viewers are having this similar experience where maybe this negative memory has come up and they don't quite know how to digest it, they don't quite know how to move on, let go, and move forward from it. It might be worth, if that's you, getting some guided meditations on the go where they talk you through that process. Last time I talked about the colour coming out of the photograph.
Yes.
Change the camera from first person view to bird's eye so that you can begin to allow to distance and let go of that painful memory rather than experiencing it. Then kind of awkwardly cutting the tether and being, oh God, I'm with this really negative thing now, which how do I release that onto the world?
Well, I think with just meditation in general, something that really puts me off is the fact that I don't want to face that. Like, I don't want to face the pain. I'm very much the kind of person, I fall
Put
asleep.
it under the rug.
I fall asleep watching TV every night. I don't like being left alone with my own thoughts because I'll just get upset and I'd rather just squash it. So I think that's what's quite intimidating about actually doing meditation, actually having to think about stuff that you don't normally want to.
So interesting that you say that, because I said last week that it is a terrifying, intimidating thing to do, to come to terms with the sub and self-conscious and kind of pin it down and go and get to know it. Like, rarely do we get to know ourselves to that degree and find out what's wrong with us. So often we want to focus on
the good things.
And we'll touch on this with social media, you know, the perfectionism of life, putting it through rose-tinted glasses, etc. How am I right? How am I sane? How am I okay? How am I perfect? How am I acceptable? But actually there are many aspects of us that aren't, that there are some things that we need to sort out and fix, and that's why meditation can be so powerful. I was, last episode I spoke about the exhale, focusing on the exhale. What has that been useful advice for you? What's been your experience with like the breath work and stuff?
So yeah, it is helpful, yes. Admittedly, I try, and I might be trying too hard, but I'm almost trying to get to that point where nothing happens. So like I'm not picturing anything up here at all. And I've only achieved that once for a brief moment, and then I was interrupted.
That's exactly how it goes, though. And the thing is, you've just got to keep at it for those brief moments of stillness, of tranquility, of you can transform the room just by slowing down like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I felt it.
Do you know what I mean?
So when you do it, do you just sit in a room silently?
Yeah.
Or do you listen to any sort of audio?
I've had a couple of audio of what they consider meditation music, whatever.
I'd like to talk about music, because when I started out, I don't want this to be, I don't want to drone on too much about meditation. It's just supposed to be a check-in. I used to start with music, like they always talk about the frequencies, like the delta waves, etc. After a time, I let that go, because what you don't want to do is become reliant on an external source. You know, I spent a lot of time last episode talking about how relationships are external to ourselves. You know, money is external, friendships, everything is external, and the mind-body connection is vacant of that. And so music is an external. So being able to, because that's not silence, do you know what I mean? It might relax you, etc. But once you get to a place where you're easing into it, it might be helpful to like not use music, because otherwise that's your hook, that's your anchor. You're relying on that rather than training the muscle to connect to that feeling. I was speaking about the exhale. My cat fell asleep on my lap the other day, and I was just examining, because cats are great animals that we can learn from in terms of how content they are with very little. All they care about is getting fed and going to sleep, and they are so nimble. They are so relaxed. They are so like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was watching my cat, and his in-breath was very shallow, very quick. And then his exhale, like I was talking about last episode, was really long. And I was like, there's an example of it in nature. This cat who's completely contented, completely chill. He's probably just worried about where the next meal is going to come from. He's not worried about what my ex said, what my colleague said at work. My car needs an MOT. I need to do this. I need to do that. Some practitioners call it the monkey mind. I've got to do this, got to do that, got to text that person, got to answer that, got to retweet that, got to like that, got to hashtag that, got to. Cat doesn't care. So contented, so peaceful, and we can learn a lot from nature in that regard, in terms of the stillness and the contentness. So there's our meditation check-in. So, Cerys, we've brought you on the podcast because you are your proclaim to fame is TikTok.
Oh no.
For the children, what is TikTok? For me mainly, because I had TikTok installed for about 45 seconds and didn't understand it. So what's it all about, Doc?
I think it's very much like the up and coming social media platform that most teenagers tend to be using now and younger. So basically you record up to a minute. Famously TikTok dances, just funny stories, and it's public, so anyone can see it.
Okay, so someone doesn't have to be your follower to see it. It appears in their news.
So if you're a public account, which most people I think do, and then there's a sort of news feed called the For You page, and that's what everyone goes through. And then you've also got a separate page for just your people you follow.
Okay, and yes, I just want to touch on what inspired you to take to the platform of TikTok. How does that output of content, because we were talking about creativity and how you aren't actively in the kind of creative space to a level that Chains and I are, but you like to do it as kind of a recreational kind of output. So talk to me a bit about how, whether it's TikTok or drawing, as you were saying, how is creativity an output for you in terms of your emotions and pastime and stuff like that?
So for me, I'm quite a scientific person. Most of my day at uni is spent either in anatomy or doing some sort of an experiment or a lecture. So I find coming home, sometimes even after working in Tesco, I'd find like drawing was such a good relaxing way.
Because it's escapism, isn't it?
Yeah, so I find just drawing things like flowers, the earth, just in general, just puts things into perspective for me. And also I found TikTok as an app so addictive. So if you just watch them, you kind of want to get involved. So originally I just did it for myself because it's quite fun learning new dances. And then I just happened in this one video to get quite a lot of views. So
how many views, Cerys? Come on, let's impress the viewers with some figures.
I got around 500,000 views.
Oh,
so yeah.
I would give the air
that's
horns,
mad.
but my phone's locked.
You what?
I said I would give the air horns, but my phone's locked.
Oh, shame. Okay, Google, play. No. Yes, 500,000 people. That's mad. So massive, a platform in terms of influence and exposure, quite big. And so what was that like when you kind of had this 500,000 view hit? Because we always see we idolize these people on YouTube who have 1 million subscribers, 14 million subscribers, and we don't ever think about what that could feel like, because for some creators, this is me bringing it back to the core concept of the podcast, for some creators who are quite intimidated by those massive figures that are already established, what was that like? And obviously that was quite easy. What was the video?
So it was just me explaining quite an embarrassing university story from my freshers week.
Yeah. So, and that's what I want to drill home to the listeners, is that whatever there's a guy my brother watches who reviews Burger King meals and McDonald's and Domino's pizzas. There is everything on the internet. There is literally something for everyone.
That's not.
Yeah, definitely. I have a friend that will constantly watch people, like this guy DJing whilst walking around his town, and it's mad like who thinks of that, and he's got millions of viewers, and I just think that's crazy.
Yeah. There's so no matter what your talent is, what you want to do, like start putting that stuff out there, and the people do come. Cerys told an embarrassing story that happened in uni freshers, and she got 500,000 views. Like that is kind of the model in motion. The model is proof of concept that just putting yourself out there on these platforms has the return of viewership. And so something I want to talk about is, because we're all millennials, aren't we? Or are you Gen Z?
I think I'm Gen Z.
Are you Gen Z? I don't even get Gen Z.
Apparently.
What is Gen
told,
Z?
I think it's like 1998 onwards. But I'm not sure where that stops.
Oh my God, terms. Anyway.
I don't think I'm a millennial though.
Okay.
Pretty sure. No idea. Though.
But I feel like the same issues plague us in terms of this rapidly growing thing of social media.
Yeah.
Of course.
And so
open that bag, are we?
Pandora's box is ripped open. Here we go. Social media. Bam! Social media. Someone kick us off. Good, bad, ugly.
I feel like it's a bit of both. It's fantastic in many ways. You know, if we can. I mean, you know, for like creative people, we can literally just instantly put ourselves out there. Hey, I put this new track out. Hey, I've drawn this new picture. Here you go. You can see it, and literally anybody can see it, and you can, you know, create full-blown careers for yourselves just off of an Instagram profile.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But there's also a lot of crap that I really don't appreciate from social media. In fact, it was only the other day actually that I sort of logged out of everything and have just kept it that way because I was just tired of the bullshit. So I don't want to see this. Like there was just, I don't know. I think there was enough going on in the world right now.
You are so right. Like the pandemic, the rate. I'd like to touch on your Cerys, your participation in the kind of anti-racism marches and stuff at some point as well. But like all of the Black Lives Matter stuff, like everything that's going on, I don't need to hear about the ins and out of someone else's life who is like complaining about such minor little things.
Yeah. There was just so many things that
I think we're all guilty of something bad will happen to us, and we'll jump on Facebook or we'll jump on Snapchat and we'll write a negative post about, this thing's happened to me. And what I've started to do lately is I've started to, the minute I'm about to post something is I go, what value is this giving to the world and what message is this sending? And if it's one of negativity and one of lacking and non-abundance, I'll push it to one side because I'll go, I'm not giving anything to anyone by me complaining like this. I'm literally showing how my life is in very, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think my advice to anybody that was on social media and was sort of feeling a particular way, I'd say before you posted anything, I normally go with a 72-hour rule.
That's good.
So
70, that's 3 days.
Yes.
Quick math.
Yeah. So if there's something that's got me caught in my feelings at the time, if I don't give a toss about it in 72 hours, it wasn't worth posting.
Yeah.
If I still feel that way about this thing, 72 hours later, I've kind of like
digested it.
There's so many people you think of something to say, and you just blah.
You are so right.
And you just say it. It's no different to when you argue with a loved one or something. You think, this will be sick. Say that. This is going to get them where it hurts. This is going to hurt someone. That's the thing. Like if I'm putting something out there that is malicious to someone or is me like slagging someone off, I go no, because then I'm just as bad as them. Have you ever experienced that, Cerys, in terms of like, you know, being, so we call it acting reactionary. So something happens to us and we're like, social media, bam, everyone needs to hear about this.
I used to do it a lot when I was younger. So when I was kind of year 7, year 8, I would post my feelings. I remember I had BBM. I'd post it on my PM. Like I'd always be saying something. And then I look back on it, and same with Twitter. I look back on my old tweets and I'm like, why? Like, why did I post that? So
what were you trying to prove?
Exactly.
Who were you trying to...
So now I'm, in general, with stuff I put out there for everyone to see, I'm quite positive. But then I think that's the catch with everyone. Like people look up to people on social media, and you've got to realise their life isn't all like glitz and glam they post. So I always take social media in general with a pinch of salt.
Absolutely. And this is, even as I was saying my previous point, I was like, well, if I'm deliberately controlling and manipulating, only putting positive stuff out there, am I not contributing to the idea of perfectionism and of when you see these, you know, these people with the six packs, or the amazing hair, or the like non-acne faces, like these sculpted, beautiful human beings
that don't exist.
That don't exist. But then, like, am I not contributing to that other end of the spectrum where some people make their lives really glamorized and really idealized and really conceptualized in terms of perfectionism and almost deity, you know, in terms of like no flaws, a special. You sometimes get couples shared Instagrams where they post like just them facing opposite each other, looking happy, like all
really
these candid shots.
I think as long as you're real about it, then no, I don't think you are contributing to, you know, glamorizing your life, you know, because the problem is that nobody talks about the crap.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, just bought a new Bentley. I mean, that's a very small percentage, I know.
Yeah.
But still, like they don't then post about how, yeah, I bought that, but however, I'm now led here at 4 a.m. contemplating suicide.
And so from the perspective of someone with, I don't even want to say mental health issues because I feel like that pigeonholes it, but in terms of someone who isn't experiencing that, they can witness these things from other people, from other outlets, and go, "Oh, my life's crap. I'm not doing life right. I'm flawed in this way." Do success? Oh, this is a weird argument. Do successful people posting on social media contribute to other people's lack of self-esteem? Are they fueling the fire of commercialism, of objectifying, of being driven by physical things, etc.? Cerys, you're nodding quite fiercely. I'll kick you off.
I think definitely, because I don't know if you've both seen recently the things with Madison Beer.
No.
I've heard of her, but I
need to Google.
So she recently came out with saying that she's had no plastic surgery done. She's had nothing done to her face at all, and she is one of the definitions of kind of perfection, I'd say.
Okay.
So, and there's people that are probably like 9-10 years old looking at that, and I think that will affect them and be like, you know what, I'm never going to be like her. And she's been caught recently.
I've just Googled her. What? No.
She's been caught recently hiding outside a plastic surgery clinic.
Oh, come off
Right.
it. Like, this is so... Chris, have you... No, come on, look at the cheekbones. She looks like a skeleton. Look how gorgeous
And I've
she
seen
is.
videos of even plastic surgeons looking at her photos and being like, well, she's clearly had this, that and the other done. And she just denies it.
Your stance
I
is
think,
yes, people in the public eye contribute to... or is that even fair, saying that people contribute to other people's anxiety, but maybe it's the platforms that are fueling this idea of buy this, buy that, you need plastic surgery to be attractive, you need this top to get on the date, you need Tinder Pro to see who liked you.
It's very interesting because yes, I would agree with Cerys and say yes, they do contribute to it, but then at the same time, how much do they contribute to it? Because you have full
and is
control.
it not an indicator that you have a bit of lack of self-esteem?
It definitely depends on the person, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because for me, I would see something on social media and I'm like, oh, I wish I looked like that. Like, I wish I had... I find with Instagram feed, I'm like, oh, I wish
I
looked
avoid
like that.
when you press the magnifying glass and it shows like all the recommended things.
Yeah.
And it's just like all these like models, and I'm like, and I'm only asking the question not because probably because I've experienced it, but I just think it's an interesting question that I've only just thought of. But when I scroll and I see all these, it's like celebrities as well. Like, why do we look up to celebrities? Well, they have this idealized life of like money, fame, fortune, love, etc. Like, to what degree is the celebrity culture and lifestyle detrimental to the individual ego and self-esteem?
I just think that we should...
Sometimes I feel like a psychologist.
that we should sort of check ourselves for where the content we're consuming. Like, we have full control of what it is that we're seeing. It's like, I don't follow people that aren't gonna sort of give me anything.
That's a good concept.
That's a good thing.
So like, I don't know, you guys probably never heard of him. I follow a guy called Royster59, who's one of my favourite rappers. Right, one of the smartest blokes I know. I love listening to his interviews.
Chris, I thought that was me
because he's such a sharp dude. I'm going to ignore that for a moment.
That joke was a dead one. I'll cut that bit.
He's such a sharp bloke, and it's just no. He's one of them that no matter how much he talks, or like how long it was, it's like I could listen to another 5 hours of you talking.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, I will follow you because he'll do like 10-20 minute IGTV videos of him talking about his view on something, and it's just gems constantly.
Yes, and so do you feel yourself being influenced by these people? You go, oh, this guy is so aspirational and inspirational that I want to adopt his mindsets and characteristics? Do you ever find yourself doing that? That's an interesting question.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, and how much does... So are we in control, right? Are we actually quite malleable and easily influenced by other sources? For some reason I'm doing this hand action. I wish there was a video feed. This is the hand action for that. Chris, go on.
I think, yes, we are easily quite impressionable, but it's about what are we feeding from? You know, if it's actually gonna make us better as people, or like, you know, improve our perspective on something,
so how
or
did people,
our knowledge.
The more we unpack this, the more scared I'm getting. I feel like we're entering the Matrix. We're hacking into life, but like I'm kind of realizing how much of my life is influenced by what I consume, and how. Cerys, please, go on.
Well, I think like I know people though that have social media and they do not care. Like they'll put what they want on there. And I respect that so much, like actually putting out there, not really caring what people think, not really trying to...
But then why put it there in the first place? In the medieval age, how did people spread their opinion in that way?
That's true.
That's what I've just thought of. I'm like, well, how are personalities shaped? How were people's lifestyles and choices shaped if they didn't have this little 6-inch slab of metal, dirty-minded,
Oh my god.
eye roll from Cerys. To consume things from the outer life and from everyone else. This is, oh my god. Is this...
You've opened...
Yeah,
Isn't it? This is Pandora's box.
We just seem to be going deeper.
What?
Could touch on like Ask FM, you know, like when we were younger.
Oh, do you remember that?
What's Ask FM?
Where you used to
ask questions. Like that was the first like bit of toxic
Ask
social media.
Jeeves.
No, Ask FM.
FM.
So basically people would make an account.
Sometimes I feel like such an old person.
Do you not,
what is this
do you not
thing
remember
you're
like the
talking
people
about?
in school? Because like you could always share your answers to your Facebook profile immediately. So and like the other users could ask questions to the user
And it's
anonymously.
anonymous.
God! And you get it on Snapchat where they're like, "Hey, ask me questions."
Yeah.
So self-absorbed, so egotistical, so attention-seeking. Do you not know what you're doing to yourself? But then,
Lots of people were very nasty on Ask FM as well.
Oh yeah, some of them were awful.
Like really, I never had it myself, but I'd like to.
how
stalk
much
other
to a
people.
degree is social media an output and conduit? So conduit means to like conduct our inner dark selves, our deeply rooted intention to be nasty, to be horrible things, to talk shit about that girl because she did that thing, to say this thing about this person. Do you know what I mean? To bitch and moan and gossip. How much is social media a machine for the more negative traits of the human psyche?
I feel like that sort of a thing.
I'm wasted on an acting degree. Sigmund Freud, step aside.
Here comes Tom.
Okay, here comes Tom.
Is that how you enter every single talk you do? Here comes Tom.
I'm gonna do that if I've got a job interview. Here comes.
Oh god, please don't.
I'm sorry, but you don't have. It's a no on this occasion. Chris, Karen, you're about to say something.
Where was I going with that? I feel like it says a lot more about them that's posting it than it does about the social media themselves. Like to those that are just filled with hatred and just want to just rage, and they're just like...
Yeah, but social media is making money out of fueling the current mental health pandemic that is happening.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
to what degree does responsibility fall on the shoulders of the founders of Facebook, of Twitter, of Instagram? I think less of TikTok because it's more about comedy.
I
don't know, where do you
disagree
draw
with
the
that.
line? Oh my god, how exciting. Conflict in Blaggin episode 3. Here we go.
Well, I found I've never experienced any hate on social media from people. Well, I say have the odd argument with my friend over messages, but not any actual hate towards me as a person. But I found...
You're so likeable, Karen.
I know, I'm just lovely.
And I thought I was egotistical.
No, that was an eye roll from Tom there, ladies and gentlemen.
Lovely.
A rare eye roll.
But I found I don't normally have public accounts, and the TikTok video that I posted, it's the first time I've ever received hate from like anyone that I don't know. So I was getting like messages and comments like, you belong to the streets. And
shut up.
And
How do they know?
How can you do Oh my god, shut up.
They know you better than I do. Oh, do you wish you just the middle finger?
And anyway, I think like no one would ever come up to me in the street and say,
yes,
like, you belong to the streets, you're this, that, and the other. Like, no one would ever do that. So in that respect, social media is to blame. But I also think I'm not a troll. Like, I know lots of people that would never do that. So I think it is about the person as well. So I'd say TikTok is a big platform now.
Yeah.
Definitely bully people.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people that post stuff and everyone's sending it around and saying like, oh, look at this.
I can't believe that. So like someone would actively put themselves out there doing a joke, having a laugh, like, and then someone, oh no, literally as I was saying a sentence, the other part of me just went, yeah, but Tom, this thing. And so let me finish one point before moving on to the next. That someone would put themselves out there to entertain and to just share a bit about themselves, and someone would return with, you belong to the street. How dare, who do you think you are? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To deliberately be malicious and make someone feel bad when this person is probably feeling exactly the same thing, but they are projecting their negative feelings onto someone else. I will say my counter before you speak, Chris. Isn't it an attention-seeking show? Isn't it a fashion show? Isn't it us desperately trying to go, hey, look at me, I can do this thing, I can do this funny, I can use this filter, I look this pretty. Is it not us clamouring for attention and acceptance and appraisal? And is that not an indication to our deeper set insecurity of ourselves? Chris, what was your response going to be?
I was just simply going to say that for me, one of the issues I have with social media is, yes, it's given us an opportunity for all of us to be able to voice our opinions.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's made people think that their opinion matters a whole lot more than what it actually does.
Yeah.
I think one of the quotes I really appreciate was from Ricky Gervais, and he said, "Oh, brilliant!
We love Ricky Gervais."
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, brilliant! You're offended. Doesn't mean you're right."
Yeah. Oh,
and it was
God.
just like,
what a legend in terms of like self-expression and being careless, free, and open with your opinion.
The world needs more Gervaises.
Yes, without a doubt. Like, sorry, I'm just having my moment of just
Ricky appreciate.
You've shut me down. You've shut this running mouth up. But I don't know.
I found with your second point, your counter there, I definitely agree with that. Like, I can see.
I forgot what it was.
About
people self-clamouring.
Doing it for validation.
Yeah.
Because you can see it if you go through Instagram. You can see there's girls that are, for me anyway, stunning, perfect. Like, but they're not posting loads of themselves. Like, they're not posting like bikini pictures and all of this. But then you can see there's girls that clearly are insecure and need the validation from social media. And I mean, I'm guilty of it as well.
From anonymous people who literally mean nothing to you, who you will never meet.
Exactly.
Who know nothing about you, who have not experienced your pain, your heartache, your hardships, everything. Even as you never take your own advice, even as I'm saying this stuff, I'm going, yeah, Tom, you need to listen, you need to check in and take this advice. These people mean nothing. You will never meet them. As far as you're concerned, they do not exist, because all that exists, and this is why meditation and mindfulness is so important, is the here and now. And the problem with social media is that it takes you out of the here and now, it takes you out of the present, and it takes you into this infinite black hole, this deep dive of other people's crap. And so you avoid any kind of connection and consciousness of the self, of the present self. What is happening right now with me? Oh, I don't like what's happening. Oh, I'm going to go and look at this person's feed, and I'm going to go like their pictures, and I'm going to go, I'm going to distract myself. Oh, I'm going to push that to the side. I don't want to experience that. No?
Oh, I get that. I'm guilty of it. I compare myself to other people all the time on social media, and I've known people.
Doesn't it make you miss being a kid? When you would just like run around. I used to run around playing Star Wars, Digimon, acting like a total fool, and like you'd never be aware of XYZ in America or wherever liking or commenting on whatever.
I miss the days where my biggest worry in life was having a positive KD ratio on COD 4. Like, that was like my biggest problem. It's like, but guys, I got to get my KD up. It doesn't matter now. I'm 25.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter at all.
Fucking 5.
Doesn't
I'm
matter.
paying bills. I still live with my mum.
Yeah. Shout out to Mumsy though.
Woo!
I think
she
that's
doesn't
such an
listen.
interesting point though, because I think there have been times in my life, say when I was in year 7, year 8, and something's happened, and you're like, this is the worst thing that's ever going to happen.
That's ever happened to anyone ever.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm
And
so
then
embarrassed.
coronavirus
I'm never going to get through this. And then, like, now I'm looking back. I'm like,
What was I doing?
I know.
Yeah, isn't it interesting?
It's actually so embarrassing.
Bringing it weirdly back to my cat. Do you think he's... I love my animals, Cerys. There's
I
so
love
much...
my cat too.
Yeah,
Bring him up.
animals never argue.
True.
They're so easy.
My
They
cat
don't-
hates me,
They
though.
don't cheat on you.
Don't bring that up.
I think we just opened a whole other box.
No, let's
That's
not.
for episode 4. Episode
You're
4.
good, bro.
Is
I'm not
everything
going to be
okay?
here for that.
Do we need to talk about this after air, after podcast? Cats aren't sat there worrying about, oh my god, I just did a fart. I wonder if Tom isn't going to feed me now. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, I picked fart out as the first example, but like animals...
It is a good one though, because like there are plenty of like people in relationships that won't fart around their partners.
Oh my god, I can already tell this is going to make it to the title.
Oh no.
I don't.
And I'm going to be honest. If you right.
Chris
To
outnumbered now.
anyone, any future partners I may or may not have, if you will not fart around me, this isn't going to work.
Really?
This is not going to
See,
work.
Weird platform to air this
It's a
on.
barrier. It's a barrier. You've got to get like we're all disgusting. We're all nasty. Just don't worry about
No,
it.
I've been on like dates with people, and on the
For
first
dates?
date they
No, I feel like-
farted.
Right, but that's
and
no.
I'm sorry, no.
No, that's a.
No
that's
matter how
different.
close I am with someone.
No
that's-
matter how. What? Even like 2 years.
Yeah, I've dated someone for like 3 years, and
didn't
they'd
fart?
still like leave the room if they needed to. Like,
They'd leave the
What?
room. Not you leave the... You'd
no,
fart
if
and they'd leave the room.
like if they needed to fart, they'd leave the room.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't like warn them and say get out. No, like they'd leave the room. Like I'm not like
So what? You just.
I think it's
How do you-
uncomfortable.
How do you live like
Like,
that?
Like I just think it's gross. Like
It
no.
is, but we all do it.
Yeah, but like still.
I feel like you're knowing too much about me.
Yeah. I feel like every so often by accident, but like
No,
I wouldn't like
it's a
openly be
barrier.
like, oh, it's coming.
This is...
Pause.
Oh no, this is going down a hole.
This is...
Pause. Young Cerys, you've got to chill, honestly.
This is blagging it in a conversation. We go from like the depths of the human psyche to should you fart in a relationship?
Yes.
So
yes,
where-
you should.
So God, I
No.
feel like it's Piers Morgan and the other one. Where do you stand on burping then, on
I
belching?
can't burp.
Yeah, I don't know how.
You don't know how.
I've never
The
burped.
only time I've ever burped has been accident.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I can do. I'm not going to now because I've had garlic and herb dip in my
lovely.
pizza.
And we're doing a podcast.
And with
That'd be
yeah, I
nasty.
forgot about that. Oh, hey, there's this
I
mic
mean,
here.
I don't mind if like I have lots of my housemates, shout out Nia, who burps all the time. And like for me it's not like a big deal, but I've never really been in a relationship with someone who burps a lot, so I can't really comment, but farting, no.
So there is a difference then.
There is definitely
There's a difference between the
this.
orifice
I'm not
going to
get into this, like,
Okay. Why?
because I was like gonna be like the smell is different. But like no,
It is, but yeah, but it's when it. Right.
I
When
have
it- when
to
it comes from your
side
arse-
with Cerys. I do. If someone
maybe
is,
I'm just
no.
nasty.
So it's, you're setting a real example for all those thousands of people that are listening, going, "Oh, Chris has got such a lovely voice. I want to date him. Oh, he doesn't want to. Oh, okay."
I think I take that like farting and breaking wind into a very
She's so middle class.
into a very scientific way. So
Okay.
the way my mum would describe it is particles of feces being let into the air. And for me,
That's
I'm
nice.
like, that's gross. Don't
That's
have
going in
any.
my mouth.
Go out
But
in
you're
back
going to
garden.
work in a
Like,
hospital.
yes, I know. But like, I don't want my partner doing it. Like, I don't know.
My stand on it. This is we need to like.
You're definitely like me in this.
Well, stop.
situation.
No, without a doubt. My a partner once, I think I heard them either fart or belch, and I said, right, I'm pouring bleach down your throat. Because that's disgusting. I hope you didn't
sound like
actually.
Donald
No, I
Trump
didn't
now.
actually. It was a joke, but I totally meant it. It was one of those. But I'm like, if someone breaks wind, that's an indication that you need to go to the toilet. So you need to go to the toilet. Don't be sat here doing it. Like, go to toilet and get it out your system. Yes, no, it is though.
No, it
That's
isn't.
what it isn't. Okay, I'm interested in how this is the
I
most
get
topical
put off by
argument.
any guy like that.
And someone did it on a first date.
Yeah.
That's a very bold
Just
move.
very, very much like.
Where were
Lift
you?
leg.
Was it Nando? They lifted their leg as well, like a cartoon.
Sorry, he lifted his... Ladies and gentlemen, he
Oh,
lifted
no, if
his
this
leg.
If this person listens now, I'm fucked.
Well, we'll know if Cerys ends up in a ditch next week. So she's made a bad decision.
No, I'm very.
What was their name?
I'm not saying.
What did their name begin with?
I'm not saying.
No, go on.
You know.
Mouth it. What there is that? Really?
No, you have to cut that.
Okay, no, I'll cut that. Tuning back in, listeners, never trust anyone whose name begins with a J. That's my universal advice. I tell that to everyone. Like, every experience I've ever had with anyone. Don't trust them. Oh, well.
Where do we go from here?
Should we have a breather?
I mean, yeah, sure.
Okay, viewers, we're going to take a break and we will be right back. Cue transition sound. Hello and welcome back to Blaggin It. That was a break. Guys, how are we feeling after our break?
I'm feeling fab after my fab that I had.
Chris, how are you feeling?
I feel good, man. It's solid. You know, let's crack on. Let's get back into it.
Let's get back into farting in relationships.
Please,
Let's move on from there, bro.
Hey mum, I'm going around to Tom's tonight. We're just going to talk about farting in relationships. No, Chris, I don't think that's such a good idea. No, mum, I'm going to do it anyway.
Is that really a practical use of your time, Chris? Trust me, Mum, the people need to hear this.
People are subscribed and listening. They want to know Chris's stance on farting in relationships. Guys, I want to make a bit of a love smoothie with you.
Okay.
A bit like a beginning to a menage a trois. I want to.
That's crazy.
I want to take last week's topic of relationships
Okay.
and this week's topic of social media. I want to bang them in the blender and vroom, mix them together, pour them in a pint glass. Delicious.
With an umbrella.
With a nice little umbrella. The little cocktail straws. Not even the full straw, but they snap it in half. Cocktail straw.
Yeah.
Suddenly so much classier. Social media in relationships. Cerys, go. Positive or negative? What's your opinion?
I think in general negative. Like, I don't know. I just find in relationships it can take away from actually spending one-on-one time together in person. Like, I think that's so important. And people start to think, well, I can message you all day, so why should I see you? And I know not everyone is like that, but it is a way some people, I think, tend to go. But then again, I also do see the positive of it, because say you're doing a long distance relationship, then it's nice to be able to FaceTime and actually see them and talk a lot. So I see the positives and negatives, but I would go with mainly negative.
In a way, it's kind of brought us closer together. Obviously, you mentioned long distance. Obviously, long distance is possible now because of social media, whereas in medieval times, social distancing. God, I'm so drummed into the Corona code. Corona code. Let's get that trending, please. Chris, don't be such a hater. You couldn't do long distance in medieval times because it was very much your village, your tribe, your cult, whereas now you can be living in London and have a relationship with someone in Manchester or Cardiff or Edinburgh
Or China.
or
I mean, you can.
Chris is very desperate and very ambitious.
That's what
He'll
it's
take
come to.
anyone.
Girls, if you're listening and you are
just met
wanting,
this woman. Don't really give off that vibe.
you said it. Anyway, it's now possible, and it's in a way both encouraging but also a problem, because, as you say, there's always someone else like a swipe away. There's always someone else at the other end of the phone
Yeah.
to pull you away from that. And it's hard to maintain that when you are physically distant from each other. Chris, what's your stance on the subject? Hopefully not as visceral and divisive as farting in bed with your loved one.
Yeah, my bad. I still stand by it. I regret nothing.
Retcon.
I regret nothing. I do think that it does have quite a negative impact on relationships. I think it makes it more difficult to sort of stay committed to somebody, because you are exposed to so many what you'd consider options. Like, I can go on the gram and just, see all of these people that are potential options, or they become certainly a lot more attainable, because I can just click a couple of buttons and slide in their DMs, as they would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you feel like communication is at once more accessible, but at the same time that becomes an issue because it's so easy to engage with someone that you don't know and that you don't like meet in the club or in La Supermarché. I don't know how people meet these days, but like, isn't it interesting that it's all tied down to like online dating apps?
Yes.
I think in general, just like everyone's attention spans, due to social media, are a lot shorter. Say in movies now, for example, they have to always have something coming that's big to keep people like attention going. So I think in relationships nowadays, people are getting bored a lot easier because they're talking to the person they're going out with all the time. They're always like FaceTiming. So then it's very easy to look at someone else or message someone else and think, oh,
I
you're
can have
the better
exactly
option
the
for
same
me.
thing with them. It's almost that, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
I can this.
Or I can get better and I can like always trying to up your game, and it's like, when
game
does it stop?
is a massive word. Like something I saw on Tinder once was people are collecting matches like their Pokemon cards.
Really?
That's what someone said in their profile,
Really?
which I feel like is a bit passive aggressive, but like people like to see, oh, this person matched with you, this person likes you, this likes.
Yeah,
it's all about that.
definitely.
What is it in biology? In that the pleasure hormone.
Dopamine.
It's the dopamine drive.
Serotonin.
So the serotonin, that's the one, serotonin.
Yeah.
And dopamine as well. So the
Yeah.
minute I get a like, the minute I get a friend request, the minute I get a follow, the minute I get attention, boom, I hit that dopamine drive, the serotonin starts to strike. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
in a way, it's kind of chemical.
Yeah, I've been with friends before and they've been on Tinder and I've seen them like say, oh, well, I don't really find this person attractive, but I want to see if they match with me. Like, I want to see if they swipe right for me.
Stop, really?
And whereas for me, when I've had Tinder in the past, it's very much like, oh, I would match with you. Whereas I've seen multiple people they're interested to see if they've had that interest.
I can't believe people would think that deeply about
From
it.
a male's perspective, I can tell you that most males out here are treating Tinder as a numbers game. So it would be a case
Most
of,
males,
So they will just take their phone, like not even looking, just what right.
Guilty of said thing.
Because then when you do get matches, you can just go through and be like, nah,
Filter through.
unmatched,
Oh
nah,
my
unmatched,
God.
nah, unmatched. Like it becomes a numbers game.
The topic. Let's pull this back to a level of professionalism. On the topic of,
We don't have professionalism.
let it be known that this is the person who's consumed the most alcohol, and he's the guy sat in the corner going, "Guys, we need to be a bit more professional." In terms of the concept, the undefined, unparametered idea, the concept of connection, isn't it interesting that corporations like Tinder, like Bumble, like whatever, are defining connection by paywalls, buy Tinder Premium, Tinder Gold, Tinder Plus, whatever it is. Like, isn't it interesting that now we have to have our app where we're going to meet the love of our life? Oh, but you need to pay 99p per month in order to find that person. Discuss.
I mean, I think they very much play off the idea of what we were talking about.
Of how desperate and lonely we are.
Yeah, of what we were talking about last episode, of how so many people feel like they need a partner to actually get by. And they know that they don't know this. You know, that everyone feels like that. Everyone wants to find love, and everyone
because
wants
it's so romanticized. It is so. You watch a film like Titanic. You watch a film like
they all died, Tom.
No,
that's a pessimist view. They met within a couple of days. They were painting each other naked in the back of a car. Like it's
really weird.
Medieval porn.
Oh, please stop mentioning medieval. I've had enough of that right now.
Such a Scorpio. Anyway, the thing is about love is that it is so it's rose tinted glasses. It's Hollywood. It's like you find the one. It's an instant connection. Everything is fine. Everything is roses. It links back to Instagram when you see these couples who are taking pictures looking so happy.
Which have probably had an argument, so that's why they've
previously.
They're
like, let's post a quick pic so that people know that we're actually
a really good couple, but we've actually just had an argument. And it's just to say sorry.
Whilst we're here, I don't want to cut anybody off, my bad guys, but I find that the ones that you will see the most pictures of are actually the most miserable couples out there.
Yeah, and isn't it, again, it links to romanticism, so like they feel the need to go out of their way to show a part of an aspect of their relationship that isn't true, isn't authentic, isn't organic.
I felt that though, like definitely, like when I've said before, because I think boys are more reluctant in general to post with their girlfriend. So I've said to an ex in the past, like, oh, like, do you want to post a photo of us? Because I feel very, like, once you've posted it, then it's kind of confirmed.
Official.
Yeah. Oh. So then it's like all your friends know, and it's kind of like, it's not just me constantly posting. Because I like to post when I'm in a relationship. But...
Why?
I don't... It's just it's the same as like with my friends. Like I like to kind of show people that I am guilty of it. Like to show people that you're happy, and even though there have been times where I've.
But why does and I'm not I like obviously I'm asking this question triggered by what you've said. But why does happiness need to be authenticated and approved by people who have nothing to do with you? Surely that moment where you're with your friends, when we were rowboating the other day, like. Amazing. I had an amazing time. I don't know how you felt.
I saw the stories.
I was there like, hey, look at my friend. Isn't that enough for us? Why do we feel the need to, and I asked that at university, not specifically for what you've said, but why do we feel the need to go, hey, look at this thing, I am popular, I do have friends, look at me. No?
Yeah, I think it all goes, for me anyway, like to be completely honest, I think it goes down to insecurity about friendships and having a relationship. And part of me is guilty to, I post mainly for my friends. Like I wouldn't post for like random people to see that I have a boyfriend, say. But for me, it's very much like if, say, I was having like a bitch about my boyfriend to my friends and they're like, oh, he's worthless, like not worth it. Then if I feel like I need to prove that it is worth it, even though that in my head saying this out loud sounds ridiculous. Like I'm
sat here like, Cerys, we need to have a chat.
No, but you know what I mean? Like I feel like I need to be like, oh, it's not as bad as I make it out to be, because I'm very much like...
It's just like you need, again, it's that sense of affirmation for someone. You just need someone to tell you that it's okay and that you're experiencing this thing that's a bit crap right now, but... that someone listens and understands what you're experiencing.
Yeah.
No?
I feel weird for saying that out loud, but I just think
I think it makes complete sense though, because like
I think a lot of people will relate to that, so I wouldn't feel weird because we all do it. I do it.
Yeah.
Chris.
So I've always said that one of the biggest mistakes I made from a previous relationship was that I let too many people in. Mm-hmm. Whenever there was a problem, it'd be like, oh, let me ring this guy, and it's like, oh, it's okay, I'll only speak to them. That's only one, that's fine. Then comes a time that they're busy, they don't pick up the phone. but I need to talk about this right now. Okay, I'll ring this guy. All right, it's only one more. Two people. Before I know it, eventually, most of the people around me have heard about this person at some
Like
point.
a pandemic.
They know about all of these things, and it's all they've heard because
they've only heard the bad things that you need to vent about.
Because for starters, I don't feel the need to discuss with them when I don't feel like anything bad. I don't feel the need to discuss anything.
Because it's also right. So why would you you wouldn't complain when things were going well, but the minute something doesn't go the way that you anticipated, the way that you preconceived that it would happen, someone needs to know about this. I feel wronged. I feel unjustified. People need to know this. This is a slander against myself as a human being. Hey, Jeremy, guess what? This bad thing happened to me.
Exactly.
So all they experience is the bad thing.
I'm very guilty of that. Like I'm quite stubborn in general, so I tend to.
You're a Scorpio.
Like I tend to bicker a lot. So then I'm very much like I need my friends to tell me that I'm in the right because. I've been in relationships where we're both very stubborn and I'm like,
nothing
well,
moves.
am I right? I don't know. So I'll be like, to my housemates at uni, this has happened. Like, am I right to be upset? Am I right to be annoyed? And then they'll be like, yeah, like you're right to be annoyed. Isn't it
interesting that you need authentication? You need someone to tell you that. But surely your feelings are enough. Surely if you feel wronged and you feel disrespected, that's enough. Why do you need to go looking for credibility but we still do it?
And then like you, like I'm very much like I don't like having the beef for a long time. We'll make up and then it's like to my friends, I'm like, oh well, like
there's still this underlying I've tried to tie the bow and like tried to make it all okay, but actually I'm not okay because I just want to get rid of this negative feeling. I don't want to confront it with the person. I want to talk to everyone else that's not involved.
And I think friends are very.
I
think from like watching my friends' relationships, they'll tell me something that their boyfriend has done, and I'm very much like that's awful. Even when they make up, I'm like.
What you
shouldn't have done that. But then if I was in the position, I would literally forgive them. So it's weird.
It's also that like I think that we as people, we don't really want to hear about all of the good stuff. I think we sort of we're naturally attracted to drama. So like if I had a friend that rang me all the time and I was like, oh, how's it going, mate? He's like, oh, do you know what, mate? I've had the most fantastic day. So I went for a walk along the beach with my partner, right? And we were smiling and laughing. I'd be like, mate, stop. I don't care. Like, I mean,
tell me the drama.
It's great that you're happy and all that, but there's nothing here. There's nothing interesting to talk about. Tell me about the last time that you argued about something. What did she say? Like, there's something interesting about that, which is,
I think that's why everyone, when I see most of my friends, I'm like, oh, what's new? What's the gossip? Like, tell me what's
gossip?
new.
Yes.
Like, if my friend's in a stable, loving relationship, it's like, oh yeah, we watched a film at his, and it's like, okay, cool. Like,
it's like really.
But like, if it was like, oh, we had an argument because of this, that, and the other, it's like, yeah, like you should have had an argument. Like, yeah, like you're in the right, etc. Like, I think that's a lot more what you feed into. I'm guilty of that though.
We always
it's hard with social media.
So we're kind of touching on like we're always trying to find the negative. We're always trying to prove to ourselves, I don't deserve this positive thing. There is always a negative that's going to happen. There is something that's going to pull me out of it. Something that's going to break the spell. Something that's going to make me wake up from this dream.
Definitely.
And the problem is that thought of anxiety, of it failing, is more detrimental and damaging than just experiencing what is actually happening.
I mean, I've been guilty of that in the past. Like, I'm always looking to be right. Like, I think I have a suspicion and I want to be right about it.
Yeah.
And there have been times when I have been right and there have been times when I've been wrong. And I wish I was more kind of, I'll just like, let it go. And that's what I've been trying to work on in general, because what is the point in spending your life worrying about something if he is going to do that certain thing, if he is going to cheat, if he is going to mess around, let him do it, and then that's it. Like, that's my perspective on it, because in the past I've been digging. Like, I've been like, okay, well, I need to prove this is right. I need to look at this. I need to try and see if he's messaging this person. And it's like, where is that eventually going to get me? It's just going to get me stressed out. And then eventually it's going to get me upset.
Heartbroken.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd rather...
You want to be convinced this good thing you have is crap.
Yeah.
You want to self-deprecate. You want to... And this is kind of what I was hinting at in last week's episode. We want to be reminded that we are shit.
Yes. People in relationships, stop worrying about what you can't control.
To be honest,
I
think that's universal.
Not even, yeah, that's universal for life. Stop worrying about what you can't control. It's so much easier on paper, I know, but it's real. Like, you can spend your whole life imagining ghosts, but really the only thing that's happening is what is happening right now. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I'm forever thinking of false scenarios that may happen, things that I'm afraid of, things
and
that I'm
sometimes
terrified
they're more
of.
powerful than what's actually happening. And the minute you tune into what's actually happening, you go, oh, wait a minute. Like, the minute I'm busy and I don't reply to someone's text, and then I kind of think about when they didn't reply to my text straight away, I'm like, oh, yeah, but maybe they were just as busy as I was at the time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I'm guilty of kind of making up a scenario in my head
that you want to believe because then you're in control of the narrative.
Yeah, and then when you're actually with the person, you're kind of like trying to pick up on these like social cues, like, oh, maybe they're being more quiet, maybe it's because of this you thought about, and like I'm very guilty of doing that, and it's so hard to try and like shut that off in the back of your mind. So that's what I was kind of talking about earlier when we touched on meditation, because I don't want to actually bring that all forward.
Okay, I hate to bring this full circle and to like blow the lid off of this, but in that case, is social media not a distraction from us facing that inner critical voice? So I'm feeling crap, I'm feeling negative, I'm feeling rubbish. I'm going to take a selfie of myself looking good and attractive and desirable so that I can pull myself away from this negative experience of feeling rubbish and instead seek the gratification, glamorization of someone else.
That's classic though. Well, not everyone, but most
is
people do.
Is that not detrimental?
If you
am I the only one that's tuned into how toxic that is?
I feel like that.
Am I beating a drum that no one else is playing?
You have, say you've just broken up with your boyfriend. You
the
don't
first thing you do, post a picture.
I've done it.
Hashtag self-love, hashtag empowerment.
Have you done it? Have you post-relationship, post a nice selfie, kind of shove it in their face like, haha.
Because you want revenge, you want to feel
missing.
justified, yeah.
Yeah, I've done it.
We're so aggressive. Meanwhile, there's the cat that's just busy licking his paws and worrying about where his next meal is going to come from.
I feel like
it's
so easy to say though that it's
crap.
Awful to do. I think it's very like from an outsider perspective, looking at me having done that before, it's like, oh, like that's
cringe.
so cringe.
Yeah.
Like, why did you think like that would work?
But why do we not have that mentality more often? Why are we not more aware? Why do we fall into the trap?
And being away from that, because I feel like at the time when you post that particular selfie, you're very wrapped up in what's going on.
The emotion, reactionary, which is what I said.
Give it a few months. Give it till you're over that certain relationship. You'll look back and you're like, well, I didn't need to prove myself then. I didn't need to show off that I'm really fit.
Because who really cared?
Because they didn't care. And I'm not going to lie, if you and your boyfriend break up, you post a selfie and they message you, well, that just says that they're a bit of a shit person.
Yeah, and all that does is the minute they message you, you go, oh God, they've messaged me. I've suddenly achieved that thing that I wanted. Now I don't want to message this person.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm now really nervous and really anxious. Oh no, I've got the result that I want. Oh no, now I have to deal with that reality. And
now that stress, and like, it just goes in a cycle realistically.
Vicious cycle.
So then it's kind of like, when does this stop?
When does this stop?
But as easy as it is to say, oh, that's an awful thing. Like, why do we do that? It's very easy to also see why people do, because they do want to be like, yeah, fuck you.
But I feel like that's the first step, is the self-awareness and going, oh wait, I'm doing this thing for self-gratification when I don't need to do that. I just need to worry about what's going on with me.
I just feel like that everyone is just running from themselves.
Yeah.
And they find absolutely anything, whether it's social media, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whether it's
partying,
Yeah.
loud music, lights, smoke,
we're all
smoking,
all running away from ourselves. Like, you
Yeah.
know, nobody wants to spend time up there, actually, as you said, you know, getting to know ourselves. We don't want to do that because it's awful up there.
I think everyone has a kind of, I don't know about you, but I've spoken to quite a few of my friends, and you have like this kind of ideal image of what you want of yourself in your head. So for me, like, I really like buying new clothes. So like I have this.
You do. We were shopping the other day,
Yeah.
and she spent ages, and I was like,
I have this kind of idea in my head. I'm not saying I'm the most fashionable person in the world, but I have an idea in my head of how I want to look. And like if I go shopping and I see something, I'll always aim for that. And I feel like
You spent £113 on about 4 items of clothing the other day, and I was insulted. Like, and you're not even wearing any of them today.
No, I'm not. But I have worn most of it. I got a bath mat as well. It says get naked. It says get naked on it.
Get naked. Isn't that what we all need to do, is just get naked? Just strip away all the bullshit and get naked.
I wouldn't want to be around my family if I just was naked all the time.
Don't take it literally.
But they're naked too.
Take it for the metaphor.
This is awkward though.
Weirdly, I've let go of the ideal self because I've kind of accepted that I am this weird, like random weird freak.
But you're 24.
Yeah, but I love that guy. I love how random he is and how he doesn't care, and I'd rather be him than someone who's constantly caring about being something to meet someone else's standards.
Yeah.
What about if I just meet my standards rather than someone else's? What's my standards for a human being? And maybe I should just live up to that.
Well, exactly. You don't need anybody to accept you besides yourself.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what self-love is. It's just, this is me. Take it or leave it.
So, Chris, we've made it through episode 3 of Blaggin' It. What have we told the children today?
I think we've taught them a lot of valuable lessons about social media, maybe ways of really considering how we're using it, and maybe
using it responsibly and with your best self in mind.
Yes, absolutely.
Cerys, it's been absolutely wizard having you on. What's
Thank
your experience
you.
been like?
Yeah, it's been really good. I was a bit nervous, but
But the minute you're in the seat, it's just
it
like...
just feels normal.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like we're recording, so it's quite nice to just have a chat and talk
It is just nice to
openly.
have a chat. I challenge viewers this week to just have a chat with someone and talk about the things that's worrying them and the things that kind of plays in their mind, the thing that keeps them staring at their bedroom ceiling at night. Like, air that out and see what happens, because I guarantee that everyone else is having the same thought. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this was actually a really nice introduction as well to meeting Cerys as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Like, it has probably been the least awkward first meeting I've had with somebody.
Isn't it weird? Because the thing that we talked about, look how I'm like spiked up again. We talked about last time, how are you mad?
Yes.
Suddenly sitting with someone and talking about the most vulnerable part of yourself, the most awkward, most sensitive part, you instantly go, oh, I connect with that. I kind of agree. I've been there.
Yeah, it's crazy because I obviously we haven't met, and I've only known Tom since March.
Yeah.
And I've just said things now that I wouldn't even tell my housemates one-to-one. Like, there's certain things that I'd be ashamed to admit that I do, but like just everyone, it's like realising that everyone does it and not to...
Everyone is having the same experience, and we just need to be aware of that and take care of each other and just say, hey, I'm having the same experience as you. How can I help?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank you very much for listening. We appreciate the following. We appreciate the love. We appreciate the shares.
Of course, always.
As usual, you can follow us on @BlaggingItPod on Instagram and Twitter. We are contactable via email with blogging it one day. blaggingitpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
And thank you for sticking with us. Tom Baker has left the chat. Bloop.
Take care of yourselves, guys. Look after yourselves, look after each other. Don't be a dick. Stand on the right-hand side when you go down the escalators in the London Underground. Chris is leaving the chat. Bloop.
always be yourself, guys, and yeah, I don't really know what to say. Bloop.
Beautiful.
You've been listening to Blaggin It. And now, your usual program.